To slide this tank in there, the gas tank. You'll notice the fitting up there at the top. That I'll have to get on. It's a hose that runs up to the gas filler. It's an overflow thing. I've got my hose clamp on there, and it is one of those original style hose clamps. I got this from Albert's. It's a new sending unit. I had a little trouble. I had to retap and make one of those on the lathe. That's for the gas fitting for the out, but I'm ready to roll that under there, and I got that jack where I can jack it up real easy. Now underneath here, I'm going to go down, down, down. It fits up. Okay, it fits up in that strap right there. You see that strap goes across the top. And these dealies here, you got to have them back. You see there's one on each side. You can see the strap going across the top there, and then there's a strap that goes on the bottom, but I'm going to bring that in there. That linkage I may have to take loose, but I think I've got it turned sideways and the rod's disconnected, so I think it will go up there. I can rotate that a little bit. I'm talking about right there, the brake rod. And you're probably all dizzy after I've done this. Okay, I moved under the car, and you'll see the straps going up there where the gas tank goes in, and they go over, so I hope I'm not confusing anybody. You'll see my hose coming down here. It has to be connected. And then up in there, if you can see it, the hose comes out of the trunk and comes across over there, which I've got to get connected to the filler hole. I'm under the car. You can see now I put the strap in on the gas tank on this side. I've got the hose right up there on top, the little hose on top connected. I got the big hose started into the filler on the side. I don't have the hose clamp. I'm leaving everything kind of loose. Going to the other side over here, you can see I've got the strap on there, and it gets a little round tubing with two cotter pins, one on each end that holds it in, and then there's a screw that comes out of the back of it, a threaded rod, and you get two small half nuts. They're half thickness, and you tighten it up, and then you use a lock nut on it. That's why there's two of them on the back of that there. So I'm going to continue to work on it. To the top of the car where the hose comes out. Here's the hose that comes out of the filler, and I had to take this loose. I left it loose. I knew I was going to have to take it loose. And the other thing I did not do out here is I did not put the cap on it, the top, which I've got over here, the top to the gas, because if you put that top on there, you can't get to those screws real easily. So I'm continuing to work on it. Just a heads up here, this overflow that if you top off the tank, most of it goes down the other tube, and it'll go down the secondary tube there, but that is kind of an overflow, and it would drip out over your tailpipe, and you want to get that connected on first. You can get in and put it on after you get the gas tank on, which was quite difficult for me, but if you put that, I recommend if that's not already on, that you put that on. That goes to a block that goes down on the frame. There's a little block, and then it gets another hose that runs out. It runs across the top of the frame, comes out, and then drips over here under this fender. So they put all kinds of stuff and clamps on there to get that hose continued over there, or that pipe. On the gas tank here, the long end, everybody wonders which way that hose goes in. The long end goes up and the short end goes out. I've got the hose clamp on the tank, on the filler filler hole, and I haven't got that hose clamp tied. I don't have that plate down there yet. You'll notice I've got the felt glued to the bottom of that plate. I don't have that overflow hose in yet, but going around here to the outside, I still got everything loosey-goosey. I've started some screws here, but you'll see that, I mean, these screws, I still got a couple more to start. But I've shoved it all down in that pipe, and I've got the couple of things to tighten up here, and I'll be done. Okay, I've still got these loose, but I've got them all started so I can move the thing around a little bit. But you'll notice in here that cover goes on there. And I'm going to reach over there and take that off of there. But there's 3 screw holes in the bottom there. 1, 2, and there's one around back I don't have. But I started that screw and that screw. It actually goes through that plate, but there is a screw in back there. See that one in back, right back there? That's a bitch to get to. And you need one of those little fancy screwdrivers. Oops, that's the Phillips head. But I got a little ratchet screwdriver that you got to get the front to, or kind of just to guide it to make sure it's in the right place. And then I put the back one in. Now I'm going to take the front 2 out now that I got the back one tightened and it's cinched down. The other thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of this foam insulation, and I'm going to reinforce around this seal here just to make sure it's watertight. That's one place that water can't enter the trunk. That felt seal doesn't seem to be the best in the world. There you'll see I put that foam seal on there just to seal it up real good. I can peel that off if I want to get ever to that hose clamp or take that off or anything. Right, I went ahead and put that plate on there, and you can see I got my screws in front there. I got my little pipe on there. The one that goes behind, you got to put that on there way before you put that in. So anyway, I'm going to go underneath and put the cover plate on. Oh, I've got to tighten these. Now that I got everything done, I'm going to tighten those screws up on that. All right, right here you can see this plate goes across the bottom there. And there's little screws that hold on here and up here towards the top. But that goes on the front of the gas tank as a rock shield. And I started that, I had them started, I haven't got them tightened down. But after I got my pins in and I got these tightened down, and I've got everything now. I talked about these. These are got a nut on the back, 2 small nuts. You pull them in and tighten this. It tightens the strap here all the way across. And then you put a lock nut on it, and you have to have these tightened and shoved up before you do that. But the last thing I've got to do here is tighten these up, but I also wanted to show you the wires, and the green, or the blue and green and blue goes on top. I'm kind of colorblind, and the red and black or something goes on the bottom terminal. But I've got those all done. Finishing up here now. I put tape around this because I put the door on, and there's some little, I think they're 2BA screw or bolts that hold that, 4 of them that hold the door on right there. And you got this little springy thing you got to push down, so you got to hold that door, and I put that tape around there so you don't scratch stuff. But when you fold it down, you can see you got to get it even all the way around. And it's got a hold on the latch, and it doesn't hold on the latch real good because there's some tape under it, but looks good, doesn't it? Except for the tape. The springy dealy here, you got to leave it loose because you think it wants to be here when you look at it, you know, when you put it on. But it actually kind of goes in at a curve because it runs down over this part of the tank. And that little end, you might oil it. It's got to be able to spin. It's like a little plastic bushing that rolls on it so it doesn't scratch it. So there you go. I got all those screws tightened down around the gas cap, and I'm going to shut that and consider that part of it done.